All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to think about something for a second. How does a company with only 7 employees somehow rocket to a valuation of $15 billion? It sounds impossible, right? Well, that is the absolutely wild story of Bitmine Immersion Technologies, or BMR. Their stock has been on a roller coaster that's just insane. So today, we're going to break down what's really going on here. So let's start with that number, $15 billion. That's what BMR was worth at its absolute peak. Now, to put that into perspective, we're talking more than some major airlines. You know, the ones with thousands of employees and planes all over the world. Yeah, more than them. More than giant retail chains that have been around for decades. It's just a staggering figure. And this is where the story goes from wild to just completely nuts. That entire multi-billion-dollar operation, it's run by 7 people. Seriously, that's not a typo. Just 7. So, yeah, that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? I mean, a valuation that huge, with a team you could fit in a minivan, how is that even possible? What on earth are they actually doing over there? Okay, so to start unraveling this mystery, let's look at the official story. What do they say they do? On paper, BMR's operations look pretty standard for the crypto space. They're into industrial crypto mining, they sell the equipment for it, and they host data centers. And look, that's a perfectly fine business model. It's solid. But it's not the kind of thing that gets you to a $15 billion valuation, not even close. So something else has to be going on. And that's the key right there. The real story, the secret to that crazy valuation, it's not in their operations. It's in their strategy. This is where we get to the good stuff, the secret sauce, if you will. To really understand what's driving BMR's value, you gotta look past the mining rigs and servers. You have to look at their incredibly bold and unique financial play. They've actually given it a name. They call it the alchemy of 5%. And yeah, it's every bit as audacious as it sounds. So what does that mean? It means their goal, their entire mission is to buy and hold 5% of all the Ethereum in the world. Let that sink in. We're talking about a massive all-in bet on a single crypto asset. And here's the thing. This isn't just some vague goal on a whiteboard. They are actively doing it. Right now, they already hold 2.8% of the total ETH supply. They're already more than halfway there. That makes them one of the single biggest holders of Ethereum on the entire planet. So what does 2.8% actually look like? Well, it translates to over 3.4 times million ETH tokens. That is just a gigantic digital treasure chest, an absolutely massive concentrated position for one company to hold. And that is the big reveal. That's the key to the whole mystery. When you add up the value of all that crypto plus their cash on hand, you get to nearly $14 billion. So you see, BMR isn't really a mining company at its core. It's something else entirely. It's basically a giant digital vault for Ethereum that happens to be publicly traded on the stock market. Okay, so think about it. What happens when a public company decides to bet the entire farm on a single notoriously volatile asset like Ethereum? Well, as you can probably guess, it has a dramatic effect on its stock price. Because nearly all of its value is Ethereum, BMR's stock basically becomes a proxy for ETH. But here's the twist. It's not a simple one-to-one relationship. The best way to think about it is like a magnifying glass. Whatever move Ethereum makes, whether it's up or down, BMR's stock amplifies it. In fact, we just saw a perfect example of this. Ethereum had a rough day. It dropped about 5.7%. Not great. But look what happened to BMR stock. It got slammed even harder, falling a full 8%. It's the magnifying glass effect in action. It's literally Ethereum on steroids. There's a financial term for this. It's called leveraged exposure. All that really means is you're making an amplified bet. So if ETH has a small win, it can turn into a huge win for BMR stockholders. But, and this is a big but, a small loss in ETH can become a much, much bigger loss for BMR. An analyst at B. Riley summed it up perfectly. They said, buying BMR stock isn't a bet on their mining business. It's a supercharged bet on the future of Ethereum. And that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? So let's pull it all together. We've got this tiny team, a mind-boggling valuation, and an incredibly aggressive all-in strategy. So what's the final takeaway here? What is Bitmine Immersion Technologies really? When you strip everything else away, it's pretty simple. BMR isn't really what it says on the tin. It's not a mining company, not in the traditional sense. It's a publicly traded holding company for Ethereum, full stop. The formula is clear as day. It's incredibly high risk, it's potentially very high reward, and its fate is 100% tied to the future of Ethereum. Anyone holding the stock is just buckled in for that classic crypto market roller coaster. And that leaves us with the biggest question of all, doesn't it? Is this tiny team controlling a massive digital treasury? Is this the blueprint for a whole new kind of company? Or are we just looking at a multi-billion-dollar cautionary tale that's waiting to unfold? In the end, I guess the fate of BMR is really just the fate of Ethereum itself.